So, here we go.
It was filled with childish frustrations and complexes. The police were searching for James Thomas.
Hello. You're listening to Midnight Movie Gang. It is currently 9:36 p.m. Night Movie Gang, and for those of you just tuning in, if this is your first episode listen, which why would you start with Karate Kid? But if this is your first episode, this is a show where we mainly talk about horror, sci-fi, other genre cinema. I'd put both these movies under martial arts films, so I think that's what counts. My name is LC. My pronouns are he, they, and I'm here with a cast of characters. If y'all want to introduce yourselves.
My name is Mo. My pronouns are she and they.
What are you drinking?
Oh,
yeah, your drink.
I'm drinking my large fountain drink, which is a Sprite. It's from Rally's.
I love the
The ASMR.
the Foley effects,
Isn't that nice?
the high production values. Yes.
Hi, my name is Rome. My pronouns are he, him, and I am having a nice mug of English afternoon, and it's my first time having this tea.
Period. This is Courtney. They, them. I'm drinking Arizona green tea with ginseng and honey.
Arizona tea. I didn't mention, but I'm drinking a Bigelow orange and spice herbal tea. It's fantastic. I like spicy teas. I kind of like feeling like my mouth is being dissolved a little bit.
That's horrifying.
How do you feel about pineapple?
Pineapple in general, just pineapple as a whole.
Yeah.
I like pineapple.
He will eat like a container of pineapple.
Yeah.
Does that not hurt your mouth?
Same
No.
mouth dissolving effect.
Yeah, they have the enzymes that
Oh.
eat your tissue.
They
I
eat
mean-
you back.
If it does eat me, I don't really notice it that much.
They do eat you back.
Yeah, I don't. Interesting.
Their enzymes dissolve you.
Oh, in Soviet Russia, pineapple.
That's also why it hurts your stomach. Do you remember that time we got pineapple juice at Trader Joe's and
Yes.
we both drank it and then we both had
It-
horrible stomach aches?
Absolutely, I almost
Yeah.
threw
So
up.
acidic.
Yeah.
That's messed up.
No, it was a bad choice.
Give yourself an ulcer.
Fun fact for you guys: this is the first episode we've had 4 people on at once.
Woo!
Wow.
Milestone.
Wow.
We do 3 more every now and again, but 4 is the first time, so this is exciting stuff.
Technically 5 with Blossom.
Technically 5 with Blossom. That's true. In that case, we've hit 4 before.
Your first 5-way.
So yeah, to get to the movies we're talking about today, we are the episode that we've always talked about doing like as a group next time was the Karate Kid.
Yeah.
And doing old versus new. So we watched a few weeks ago the original of the Karate Kid, released in 1984. It's a martial arts drama film written by Robert Mark Kamen and directed by John G. Avildsen. And we're going to compare that to the movie that probably most of us probably grew up with as far as like our main Karate Kid in our age ranges. The Karate Kid, which is a 2010 martial arts drama film directed by Harold Zwart, starring Jaden Smith and Jackie Chan. And yeah, so basically I wanted to ask y'all, I just realized the music stopped. I gotta fix that. I just wanted to ask y'all, what is your history with either of these movies? Like first time maybe you've seen them or like heard about them or like known before you've seen them, like known about them in the public zeitgeist. Like what, before this viewing, what was your relationship with these films?
I did not grow up with these movies, either one of them. I like knew that they existed and I lied to a lot of people about seeing them because I don't like it when people shame me for not seeing popular movies. So I definitely told that lie a bunch, and I just like knew of these movies and I definitely referenced them just like everyone does, but like
wax on, wax
yeah,
off, jack on, jack
for
That's what they're known
I've
for.
never heard that before.
but
Jacket
Never?
on, jacket like in Jaden Smith, jacket on.
that's not what I heard.
You know that it sounded like jack on, jack off, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Cool. Just in
Okay,
case
cool.
we just missed that. Okay.
As long as we're all on the same page.
But I love the TV show Cobra Kai.
Yeah.
That's all.
Have you seen what did you see first, Karate Kid or Cobra Kai?
Cobra Kai.
Wow.
That's crazy.
What
Isn't
was
that
the
crazy?
order of it? It was Cobra Kai, Cobra Kai,
Cobra Kai.
Cobra Kai,
Cobra Kai.
Cobra Kai, and then which Karate Kid?
Well, we tried to watch the Jaden Smith Karate Kid by ourselves a while ago, and you fell asleep.
I fall asleep at
Always.
everything. Yeah, so I
Court's
watched
gonna
Cobra.
do one thing, it's fall asleep.
Period. It's the one thing I can do. You know what I mean?
You're just sleepy.
At the end of the day, I'm just a sleepy guy. I saw Cobra Kai, and then I saw the original Karate Kid, and then I saw Jaden Smith's Karate Kid. I think.
Fascinating.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Would you say that, like, just to stay on this for a second, would you say that, like, that kind of speaks to the strength of Cobra Kai as far as, like, since you didn't see the original thing, you're able to, like, you're able to follow it pretty well?
Yeah, I mean, I had you there also
Yeah.
telling me stuff.
Yeah, all the facts. They also use a lot of flashbacks. Sorry, Ron,
Yeah.
go ahead.
I think it's really crazy because I have a completely like different experience to that, is where I grew up with both of these movies, and I think I saw the original Karate Kid for the first time when I was like probably 4 to 6 years old, somewhere in there, and I definitely liked the movie, but I didn't appreciate it as much as a kid. And then when I was older, you know, when the Jaden Smith's Karate Kid came out, and I was like a tween, it was a whole different experience, and like I was into the movie, and then I went back after seeing that one and watched the original, and then I had like a deeper appreciation for the original as well. So I grew up with both of them, and they both kind of have different nostalgia to them because of that.
Yeah. Period. Mosif?
I grew up with a Jaden Smith Karate Kid. I didn't even know that there was an original Karate Kid until I saw there was an episode of some show, I think it was New Girl, where they were referencing Ralph Macchio a lot. And Schmidt was like, he's the Karate Kid. And I was like, no, he's not.
The Karate
Jaden
Kid.
Smith is.
The Karate
He's
Kid's
the
black.
Karate Kid. Yeah. And so when I see Ralph Macchio and he's like this white guy, I was like, that's crazy. Because the Jaden Smith Karate Kid makes more sense to me because it actually, I mean, they do kung fu, but it like actually honors like the culture which it came from. So I was like, oh, why is that not the original one? Not that the original doesn't, but like this one they went to China. But anyway, this Karate Kid.
That's the whole movie.
Any
Period.
Well, you know what? And I went to China too. That's where I was going with that. Is that where I saw the Jaden Smith Karate Kid and I loved it, and then like maybe 6 months to a year later, my family moved to China, and I was like, whoa, that's like really relatable. And then I watched the original Karate Kid with you guys like a month or so ago, and it was like fine and good, and it was cool to see where the Jaden Smith one came from, but I'm partial to the Jaden Smith one.
I think it's so unique and cool that you can actually relate to like moving to China, because
Isn't that
I feel
crazy?
like even though I didn't grow up with that either one of them, I feel like the relatable parts of Jaden Smith's Karate Kid for most people is not the moving to China part. So it's like really unique and cool that you actually like you did that though. Just, like, and so there was a movie representation of something you went through, kind of.
Honestly, yeah. Like, it was, like, super, like, weirdly relatable. I
Yeah.
was like, whoa, this is exactly what happened in the Karate Kid. Not exactly, but I did do Taekwondo. I did Taekwondo in the U.S.,
Period.
and then I did Taekwondo when I moved to China, and the Taekwondo in China is, like, next level. Like, everyone was really scary, and,
Yeah.
like, our teacher was, like, pushing us around and, like, sitting on us, and, like...
Sitting on
Yeah,
you.
when we would stretch and stuff, we did like a straddle split, right? And then the teacher would sit on us to get
No.
us to
No,
go
thank
lower.
you.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Pass.
And so then I stopped doing
Hard
Taekwondo there.
pass.
But
Good.
Yeah, maybe that was for the best.
Wise decision.
thank you. But yeah, it is kind of relatable, huh?
Yeah, it's like an interesting way for it to be relatable because it's such a unique experience, I feel like.
Did you
Yeah.
also befriend a blonde white child on your first day?
Who is only
No,
there for like 5
it was
minutes. And then never
An
comes back.
Asian boy. His name was Albert.
Just to break into how these movies kind of develop, both of these movies pretty much start with seeing our main characters traveling with their moms to their new destinations. Daniel, it's a big old road trip, and Jaden's flying on a plane. Which, how else, I guess, would you get to China in modern day?
Boat?
Drive under the ocean?
I was about to say, yeah. Like, what if they went by boat? That'd be crazy.
Why don't we build an underwater subway?
Why would
monorail.
boat be crazy?
Because
Basically,
it's a long journey. What is it? Fucking Columbus times? You're gonna get on a boat?
I just feel like it wouldn't take that long.
It would take like a year. I'm kidding. It wouldn't take a
Okay.
year.
What is it? The Mayflower?
That's exactly.
What?
The Nina
It's-
the
we're not
Princess
rowing
of Santa
the boat.
Maria is what Jaden Smith should have taken with Taraji P. Henson
Oh my
to
god.
get to China.
basically, I wanted to ask y'all,
Yes, thank you.
what did you think about how each of these movies introduced our characters, like Daniel and his mom, and I'm forgetting his name, and Dre. I kept my brain
Xiao
couldn't,
Dre.
my brain couldn't think of anything other than Jaden. What do you think about how
Dre.
they introduced these characters, like where you kind of like, I know that we're all going to be biased towards the Jaden Smith Karate Kid, but as far as like, do you think that the original kind of like developed them more efficiently? Like, do you feel like it took you longer to get to feel for Daniel and Jaden? And like I said, I know we're all biased, but I just want to hear your thoughts on it.
I think that it didn't. I feel like I felt a similar amount of like sympathy for Daniel as I do for
Dre.
Dre. Oh my god.
It
I
is
keep
tough.
wanting to say Jaden.
I
Black
think-
History Month?
It's racist of you guys.
Listen, the reason why though, no, but the reason why is because like when I was a little kid, I moved states also. So like in watching that movie for the first time, like that reminded me of my childhood versus like Jaden Smith moved to China, which like was not relatable to
Not
me.
relatable.
But that like
You
it,
guys didn't move to China.
when you're a kid and you move to another place,
Brumpies.
it's just in general stressful regardless. And like Daniel is older in these too, in this movie too, so like I felt like it's not as probably distressing as it is when you're a little kid like Jaden Smith is in this movie, but also I don't know, it's still hard. He's just a kid. Like anyone younger than 18 is like a little baby, you know?
I agree. I think both movies do a good job of introducing the characters and developing your, relationship with the characters. I think that you have to watch The Karate Kid in the original, like in light of when it was made
Yeah.
today, and
They're both super of their time.
So
Yeah.
true.
They both,
Absolutely.
yeah.
and so you have to watch it with that in mind in order, I feel like, to allow it to provoke the emotions it's intending to provoke. And so there's that aspect to it, but I still think they do it really well. Where the Jaden Smith Karate Kid gets me is also at that age of like 12, 13 when I saw the movie, and I had moved around a lot in my childhood. Just the opening scene of Jaden Smith in the empty house rolling on the suitcase, and then he goes up to the door frame where he's been recording his height for his entire life, and now he's being moved away from all of that, really like was relatable to me at that age as someone who moved for the first time when they were like 6, and like that was the only house I knew, and it just, I feel like it grabbed me quicker, but because of that aspect. But also I watched it for the first time when I was significantly older and also more able to understand that.
Jaden Smith is such a good actor too, and
Yeah.
I feel like that helped. I don't know, maybe again I'm partial to Jaden Smith, but I just felt like he sold it more, and he was like you guys said, he's like a little Will Smith sometimes. Like
Yeah.
he's like such a personality, and I feel like that helped develop his character more as well. Because I also feel like besides Jaden Smith's character and maybe Mr. Han, is that him in the Jaden Smith movie?
Yeah.
I felt like it was more about the story than anything else. Like I feel like I was like it was like a work, like it was like the Karate Kid, like it was beautiful and like the music was really good and it was like super theatrical, and I feel like the original Karate Kid was more like a story that was being told to me, which is kind of how I interpreted them.
Yeah, makes sense. Funnily enough, something I realized is like a common connection that all y'all are drawn with is like all y'all moved a lot when you were younger.
Yeah.
And that was the
Isn't that funny?
and that was the aspect that you related to the most, whereas like I lived in the same place like up until college.
Yeah.
And even then I didn't like really go super far for college, and so the aspect that I connected to with Jaden Smith in this movie, or as far like when I was a kid, because I also rewatched it when I was a kid, was being the only black kid in a very not black place.
Yeah.
And like feeling that kind of like isolation, because like throughout, like, especially this rewatch, I'm like, yeah, no, everyone's being racist against him, it feels like. And that's definitely the mode that I connected with it on. As far as comparing how the two original movies felt to me, as far as like I kind of got this weird connection. I really love how the original Karate Kid starts seeing them like on the road.
Yeah.
And like their car like won't start properly, so like Daniel's got to like get out and push and then jump in. And a little bit of the, like, how do I put it, the kind of scrappy, like, it made me think about like road trips with my mom, like when I was a kid, because we would take like a lot of road trips to like visit family and stuff, and just kind of like the whole thing of like packing the car, like it kind of like, I don't know, I was able to connect with that there somewhere. I do think that just by the nature of the new movie, there's a lot more dialogue in the first part of the new Karate Kid, like where we literally see like Dre interacting with his mom and interacting with more kids, whereas like Daniel, it's a lot of kind of just him looking around his new kind of shitty apartment building, and you know, you see he's like a little bit dissatisfied, and it's a lot more like it's a lot more like kind of on the face of it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you also see Mr. Miyagi kind of lurking in the corners more early on.
Lurking in the
Well, just
corners.
Well, like I feel like you see him like around his reaction and stuff like more in the background throughout the beginning than in the new one. But sorry, Rome, you look like you gotta.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think that goes kind of back to what Mo was saying about feeling like it was being a story told to you. I feel like that's how movies, like that's like movies in general from that time.
Yeah.
Like they are like painting you a picture rather than like putting you in the picture.
Reminds me of
And-
like The Breakfast Club,
Yeah.
where it's
Yeah.
literally, or like Ferris Bueller's Day Off, where it's literally narrated to you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's so of that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like just in general, what is it? Movie how do I put this? This isn't, I think, a slight against like modern movies or whatever. Is me being I definitely have the bias. I think of the room as far as like watching more older movies, but something that new movies I think try to do with their main characters is try to make their main characters the audience. And like try to make their main character not a blank slate, but like a bit more. And not to say that Jaden
A
Smith
bit
is,
more YA, insert yourself.
Yeah.
exactly, a bit more like really being able to see
Insert
versus
name
like
here.
I think older protagonists in older films are way more specific. Like I think Daniel LaRusso is a character that already has a lot of like shit built into him.
Yeah.
You know, as far as like he has like a more of a distinct personality. And part of that also might be the fact that he's older.
Yeah.
As well contributes to that. But yeah, Rome, it looked like you had a response, but no.
No, yeah, he's older. He's gone through puberty.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, Ralph Macchio was
I
fucking.
mean, that just adds a lot of complexity. Like, you
Right.
remember how life was simple before puberty?
Yeah,
Like,
true.
Also, I just want to say, remember we looked it up? This man was like fucking 21 or 22 when
Yeah.
he shot this movie right
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, and he
Whereas
literally
Jaden
looked
Smith was
16.
like probably also like 12, 13,
Yeah.
maybe 15 years old max.
Yeah.
He was 12, yeah.
He was little.
He was,
So
and he looked
little.
little. He really looked like
Yeah.
the age he was playing.
Yeah.
I can handle him.
Ralph.
All right.
I can handle him.
I can handle him.
Also, yeah, the Jaden Smith Karate Kid gave us that song.
And it's
That's
so
true.
fucking
Never
good.
say never.
Never say never.
Never say
say
never.
never.
Say it.
Never say never.
We say it.
Never say never. Now he's
Never say
bigger
it.
than me.
Stronger than me, and his arms a little bit longer than me.
Oh, we fucked it up.
But you ain't on the
We
JB
gotta
song with
wait.
me.
Put it to bed.
None of us are Jaden Smith.
I can handle him.
The kind of next aspect of the movie, man. More I'm looking at the Wikipedia, the more I'm realizing these movies have the exact same structure.
Yeah.
As far
Almost like they're the same.
yeah, as far as the characters that we
Almost like it's a remake.
we run into next, what do we think about? I do want to spend a second on this as far as like, and this is something where I think the new Karate Kid did a lot better. What do we think about the love interests in both these movies? So like Allie in the original, Johnny's ex-girl, and I don't know the new.
What's her name?
The new character's name. Yeah,
Mei Ying.
the character's name is Mei Ying.
The name we know.
I really like their little relationship more in the new one, but I want to hear your guys' thoughts first.
I think that they're both okay, so starting with the original, like it's classic like boy meets girl. Like every you know, love interest is like this, you know. And I do give it, though, the connection to being beat up is very clear because because she's Johnny's ex, and so like it makes a lot of sense. In the new movie, I love the innocence of the relationship, and I love how there's no like real pressure of any sort.
They just like each other's company.
They're just friends, and he even says in the movie to her dad at the end, like, he'll be the best friend she ever had. I just like that innocence about it. But the connection of why he gets beat up is a little lost to me because we never explain why.
It's racism.
The little
bro.
angry boy, right? We never explain what he's angry about. Like, there's clearly like he protects her, and it seems like he knows her, but like we never like create a storyline between the two of them. So then, it just leaves it to like he just wanted to, and like I like that a little bit less. I would like it to have a reason other than racism.
She says that the angry little boy is her close family friend, and then also, I mean, and that's kind of it, huh?
Yeah, that's not good enough for me.
That's actually, I was gonna rationale my way out of it, but
they
no.
could have at least gone as far as being like, and he had a crush on her, and that's why.
Literally.
Or like he was
they don't
afraid
even say that.
or like he was afraid Dre's friendship with her would replace his friendship with her.
Right, they
Or, like,
never
something
explain
like
that.
that. Yeah.
I'm glad we're rolling into talking about these characters. The next thing I was going to ask you about was the villains. And
The villain.
Grease.
Grease, Cobra Kai.
No mercy.
No more.
They're both crazy, which I really appreciate.
Yeah.
The fact that they're young and crazy is a little crazy, is also crazy to me. It makes it scarier and also that much more enjoyable to watch. But they're both so scary.
I think that I think that the villains are both scary. I think that the new Karate Kid, the characters being so much younger, and the actor doing such a good job at playing just a vile soul,
A psycho.
is really makes it scarier. But also I think that I related a bit more to Johnny. I think Johnny is developed more as a character. We have that clear connection to Allie, and so he just like serves a bigger role in the movie than the villain. Like, he also has a story, and I think that him being older, his anger that he's putting onto Daniel is also more understandable. Like, it's easier to relate to him as a character, even if, you know, you think he's in the wrong, because they show you that he's dealing with abuse himself, and like that doesn't make what he's doing okay, but like it makes him more of a character than I feel like the new Karate Kid does, because they literally don't show him other than when he is just beating Jaden up. Like, that's all he's got. Like, we don't do anything else. Like,
Yeah.
Exactly. I definitely feel like I have a bit of a bias towards like finding Johnny more interesting, just because I before this viewing I have the whole knowledge of Cobra Kai in my head.
I'm so biased by Cobra Kai.
Yeah, but I do think that looking at this movie by itself, I do think they give. I think there's a little bit more here in terms of his relationship with his sensei versus like in the new Karate Kid. We don't really see. This character's name is Chang, which funnily I like the description. All it says is based on Johnny Lawrence on Wikipedia.
Yeah.
Like Chang, we don't really see him interact with his sensei that much.
No.
Like or the sensei character in the new Karate Kid even, but like Kreese.
Just during the competition.
Yeah.
Is the only time.
We see the psychological abuse that Kreese puts through his Cobra Kai kids. Like,
Yeah.
like we get a lot of detail of it. Like the first time, you know, we see them. Like there's like a little like sparring match going on, and Kreese is like, finish him, you know, like punch the kid while he's down. And I don't know. I feel like Kreese to me massively outweighs a lot of it. He's just like an evil bastard.
He is for sure.
And I don't know. The Cobra Kai's just also got that style, you know.
it's got flavor.
Great jackets, great name, great motorbikes,
Yeah.
great theme song.
Yeah, it's really clear in the new Karate Kid that the The story is literally like it's Jaden Smith, it's Dre. It's about what's happening to him, and
Uh-huh.
everything else is tertiary. So like it makes a lot of sense that like those other characters are not that developed. I also think that the newer Karate Kid was catering to a younger audience, so they just like they didn't make that complex of a storyline.
Yeah.
I think honestly, like I still feel like I would physically like enjoy watching the new Karate Kid more because of, you know, Jaden
Yeah.
Smith. But the more we talk about it, the more I'm like, I think the first one was actually kind of better. Like,
I think you could say it would be like technically better from like a story
yeah.
fullness perspective, but like your enjoyment of it can be lesser based on how you felt watching them. Like
Yeah.
that you don't have to like the movie that is like technically written better
Yeah.
necessarily. Even and also that's subjective. Like
Period.
you could argue that the second one was written better. Like I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, especially if you consider intent, like of the audience. Like,
Right.
if they wrote to the audience, they intended
then they did
to,
a great job.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? I was gonna say it's a thing. Yeah, I feel like there can be a difference between like knowing that something is like objectively better, like maybe like a film that like is a bit more quote unquote advanced, but then you can still prefer the thing. Like I think about something in the same franchise as far as like what's it called? I'm drawing a blank, guys. Remember,
Describe it.
I had an example in my
Yeah,
head.
describe it.
The Texas Chainsaw Massacre
Oh, okay.
movies.
Okay.
Like,
Period.
one is a better movie than two.
Yeah.
Most of us in here only watched one. Two is like a cheesy, crazy, off the wall thing. I have more fun watching two.
Right.
Because it's
Like 2 is going to get a higher score on my
It's-
Letterboxd.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
But
I'm-
1 is technically the better,
Yeah.
more groundbreaking movie.
Exactly.
So true.
So like, and I feel like there's a lot about like another. I used to feel that way about Alien and Aliens in the same aspect, but now I much prefer the original. But anyway, but yeah, no, I feel like those are some ways to be. Let's talk a little bit about Mr. Miyagi and Mr. Han as far as like not necessarily just going right into like the character. Something that I wanted to say, I think that they kind of drip fed Mr. Miyagi better in the original as far as like we get like a lot of little bits and scenes before we like fully meet, like before Mr. Miyagi saves Daniel. They have the scene where they're cutting the oh wow, it's happening in the movie. Yeah, shit.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
The scene
I
where
love
they're cutting the what are those trees called?
Bonsai.
trees.
Bonsai trees. Yeah, I can't think right now. But we get this little scene before Mr. Miyagi ups and saves him. I just wanted to put that out there as far as like that's something that I think the first one does do a lot better. But that's not to say I think there are things I like about Mr. Han that are more interesting than Mr. Miyagi. But I want to hear y'all's thoughts first. You don't have to go first.
I don't want to.
Okay. I think that I agree with you on the introduction of the character, and building Mr. Miyagi. Also, more like character development initially. I think that we get a lot of character development with Mr. Han in the latter half of the movie, but I would agree that on introduction, the original does a better job. I think that I'm partial to the new Karate Kid because of all the factors we've already discussed, but also because of the fact that like growing up as like a black boy and like loving Will Smith and watching like all of the Bad Boys movies and such, you could clearly tell where he was having influence in this movie, and like the scene where they're introducing Mr. Han and he smacks the fly with the fly swatter and then picks it off with his chopsticks and goes back to
that's
eating.
nasty.
Yeah, like that's like right away, like that's Will Smith. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I always just like really connected to that, and also just the comedy of it is an element that the first movie doesn't do with Mr. Miyagi, and I think that Mr. Miyagi's story makes a lot of sense why they didn't go with they didn't add a comedic element to it. I don't think that it was wrong to not, but also I just like that, it makes it fun.
Yeah.
I also like Sherry and Mr. Han's relationship. Like the fact
Yeah.
that she keeps I don't really recall what the relationship was between OG Karate Kid's mom and Mr. Miyagi, but Mr. Han
I
and
think
Cherry.
it's more minimal.
Daniel's mom has basically one important scene when she discovers Daniel's black eye.
Yeah.
And that's like the
Right.
only dramatic scene she really has. I don't think she's at the tournament at the end
No.
either. So yeah, she's like not really as much of a
She's at
presence.
the tournament, isn't she? I think she's sitting with Allie at one point.
I'm not sure.
I'm almost positive. And when he gets hurt, she's in the locker room. Or am I making that up?
I don't know if Wikipedia.
I know that's true for the new one, but I don't know if that's true for the
right,
original.
because we watched
You
it
could
here.
be right. I don't know.
Peeps in the comments.
I could
Let
be
us
making
know.
it up.
Yeah, I agree that that Sherry is like way more of a character. Like, I mean, I know her name
Right.
versus I
Right.
don't know Daniel's mom's name.
And Taraji P. Henson was great. But also, like, I still feel like she should have been a little more involved. I mean,
Oh, for
I just feel like
sure.
in this day and age, like, I would be at all of the sessions,
Oh.
at least for the first month or
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. Also, when it was clear that her son was getting his ass handed to him, and she's just like, I hope it works out.
Hope it's fine.
Hope it's fine.
Yeah,
This is just...
Her name is Lucille.
in the original,
In the original.
Yeah, Lucille LaRusso.
Lucille LaRusso.
Lucille
LaRusso.
LaRusso.
That's
What
kind
a
of a
name.
sick name.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to say.
Lucille LaRusso.
Lucille LaRusso.
I like Mr. Miyagi's headband as well. I'm sure there's like an official name for it, but I really like it.
The Mr.
Agreed.
The Mr. Miyagi. It makes a return in Karate Kid Legends.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Coming
You
up.
haven't even seen it yet.
Well, no, it's in the trailer.
I know.
The new Karate Kid.
Doesn't it make appearance in Cobra Kai too?
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah,
all.
it does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Daniel wears it every now and again.
He's so obsessed in Cobra Kai. Cobra Kai is so funny, especially after seeing Karate Kid. Like, the Karate Kid was like one like moment in time, and then Cobra Kai has like has stretched that one moment of time
Yeah.
so long.
my hot take about Cobra Kai is that it is the best bring back an old thing and like reboot it.
And it's so silly and stupid. And every once in a while when we're watching Cobra Kai, I'll be like, this is a kid's karate tournament. Like, it's just so silly.
Yeah.
I think I have to watch Cobra Kai now.
It's good.
Cobra Kai is.
I think
You
you'd like
haven't
it.
seen it?
No, I
incredible.
have not.
I
I
know that.
Here's my hot take. My thing with Cobra Kai. I want the team behind Cobra Kai to make like an adult focus. Like when I say adult, because the Cobra Kai, it's like it's not. They swear and shit.
Yeah.
You know, like it's a really cheesy show, but it is for like an older audience. That team needs to make a Power Rangers show.
That'd be good.
For-
That'd be so fun.
It could even be the same cast. Like Tori is the Red Ranger, Tori's
Ain't
the Yellow
broke,
Ranger.
Don't fix it.
What?
I said if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Exactly.
Just same cast, throw a different plot on.
So yeah, same shit. Like they're doing kung fu. It'd be great. Yeah, but
Power Rangers is Asian.
yeah. I mean,
Question mark?
Question
I'm not
mark?
trying to tell you. I'm trying to. I'm asking because
Well,
you were saying like,
they're
yeah,
in
they all do
suits.
kung fu.
yeah.
Yeah, but you know,
Well-
in one of the shows, I remember that they live at like a Japanese house. They live in like a dojo kind
There's
of deal.
Ninja Storm. be the one you're
Oh,
thinking of.
okay.
But
That's the ninja sector.
If what you're referring to, so
Ninja sector.
the American show Power Rangers, like also all of the action scenes from the American show Power Rangers are from the Japanese show Super Sentai. Like all the parts.
Oh, that's cool.
All the parts where they're out of their suits and
I
shit.
didn't know that.
Me neither.
All the parts where they're out of their suits and it's just like New Zealand people walking around acting.
Why New Zealand people?
They filmed the Power Rangers has always been filmed in New Zealand.
Why?
Do they have accents? Are they Australian?
Some
Or sorry, not Australian.
Some of the actors. I mean, the show is supposed to take place in California, but it's filmed in New Zealand.
That's
I know.
crazy.
I
That
know.
is crazy.
I know a lot about Power Rangers.
That seems like a weird
far
choice.
though, right? Like
Well,
it's
the-
like really
The
far.
climate does not seem to be the same?
Film
Question mark?
Film. It's
kind of.
It's much cheaper to film there than in somewhere like.
Is that
LA.
why Hobbitown is there?
That's. I mean, part of it is definitely like tax reasons. Yeah, like it's one of the.
Facts.
It's like one of the top 5 countries in the world that's like cheapest to film in because
Interesting.
yeah, it's yeah. There's a lot of places. America's really expensive to film in if you're
And we film a lot.
yeah. But anyway,
All the time.
I had one more point that I was gonna say about not Power Rangers. About Karate Kid. I was just looking at the time. I guess as far as like what goes into it, I wanted to just mention as far as particular scenes that stand out to me that I kind of want to just pick your brains about. The fucking shower costume in Karate Kid 1. Is it happening right now?
Yeah.
Wow.
You keep lining it
forgot
up.
about that. That was so good.
What an insane costume.
What an
Mr.
insane...
Miyagi, what do they call that? Jerry rigged that shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mr. Miyagi invented it for him.
He did?
Yeah.
Wait, really?
He helped him
Yeah,
put
because
it-
Daniel's like, I don't have a costume, and he's like, if you have a costume, will you go? And then he looks at the shower curtain, and then you see him show up to the dance as a shower.
Yeah. And then he traps Allie in his shower, which
Riz.
I
Like-
remember that.
Ultimate
like
Riz.
yeah.
I thought actually that was a sick
Yeah.
move because if that were me, I'd be like pants
I'd have walked
stuff.
in.
Yeah.
What did you say?
You say you'd walk in?
You'd walk in where?
To his shower. He doesn't trap her, really. He invites her in.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then-
And I would go right in.
Yeah.
And
And do pant stuff?
Pants
hand
stuff?
stuff. I mean,
Hand stuff.
Yeah.
Thought you said
Period.
pantsed up.
And I was like, what?
yeah.
That's how the kids are saying horny nowadays.
Pant stuff.
I'm
I
pants
think
stuff.
they have Allie and Daniel have a really cute like teen relationship.
Yeah.
It's less innocent than the remake just because.
But it is as innocent as it could be if you're doing like teen love or whatever.
for some teens.
You know?
Are there?
Yeah, they just like see each other at school.
Yeah, it's cute.
And then she goes to his tournament.
Yeah.
Tournament. Speaking of tournament, I want to talk about the tournament as like the wrap up of the plot of these movies. But before we talk about the tournament, I just want to ask: are there any particular scenes from either movie that like stand out to you that like you wanted to, or if y'all feel comfortable talking about Mr. Miyagi and Mr. Han's dark scenes where like we get their like dark backstory and how they could. We don't have to talk about that if you don't want to.
That's crazy, Elsie.
They just make me sad.
So sad.
That's all I got.
Yeah, I guess
I feel like in both cases, it's a very big burden to put on a child.
yeah.
And so I feel kind of uncomfortable with both of the scenes, especially in the Jaden Smith one, because he's too young to be holding that heavy shit.
Right.
Way
and like
too young.
Mr. Han is drunk in that.
Mr.
Yeah.
Han is off his ass.
That's really scary.
Yeah.
Like I don't think I would have experienced that by then.
Right. Like yeah. And like that's someone that you have as a child have like grown to love like an uncle or like a like
Right.
a parent-esque caretaker
Yeah.
at that point.
I remember that scene in growing up really freaking me out as a kid.
Yeah.
I have a
agree.
bad experience with drunk adults. around
Yeah.
me. Something I didn't want to say about the original though, as far as interesting behind the scenes factoid. So Mr. Miyagi's scene where he's drunk and telling Daniel about his family being in a camp and like in a internment camp and stuff. The producers wanted to cut that scene out of the movie. They're like, it's too dark. It needs to be family.
Boo.
And Pat Morita, the actor that plays Mr. Miyagi, is like, no, you need to keep that in there because that's the only scene that reminds the audience that Mr. Miyagi is human.
I think even more so like no one talks about Japanese internment camps in the
Yeah.
US
Right.
and we should.
Just push it under the carpet like it didn't happen.
Right. Like
Don't
but
acknowledge it.
yeah, we just like don't acknowledge it as a culture, so I also think it's important that there's like some media that talks about it. Because I feel like most of the time we just don't talk about it.
So true.
We barely talk about the atomic bomb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that the stories are both crazy, dark in their own way, right? I feel like growing up, I related to the new Karate Kid more. Also, just having like trauma experience with like drunk adults. But
Woo!
I think that
Oh, no, not woo.
I think that watching the old Karate Kid as an adult really gave me that appreciation for the weight of what Mr. Miyagi was holding.
Yeah.
I didn't really understand his backstory at all. Or not at all, but like I understood it at a very surface level of like, oh, he's a man whose wife died during child labor, and the
Yeah.
complexity of his trauma and that his wife died in an internment camp because she just wasn't given medical help.
Yeah.
Is a layer of trauma that is incredibly pertinent and like to his character and to the pain of the story.
Yeah.
And I think that Mr. Han's story is equally painful in a different way, and then the survivor's remorse, or survivor's guilt rather, that he must have for his son and his wife dying in a crash that when he was driving, like, also a level of trauma that's like crazy. But I think that when I was old enough to watch when I watched the Jaden Smith movie, I was old enough to understand his, and it didn't hit me that hard. But when I rewatched the old one, I was like, damn.
Yeah. Something this is making me realize, just thinking about older movies in general, is that I feel like if you look at the movies in the 70s and 80s, they're, even in kids' movies, but like discussions of like when they're older characters, grandfather figures, whatever, they're people who were around during World War II.
Yeah.
And the varying like traumatic world events during World War II. I feel like in those movies you get a lot of older characters who are more directly dealing with traumas from like the Holocaust and stuff. Like there's a specific example I can think of in my mind in a kids movie that's fucking insane. It's a dark scene called Monster Squad. Folks out there who've seen Monster Squad, you know. But yeah, it's something that you just don't see anymore because most of the people who are alive during that are not around anymore. So interesting.
Yeah, and I think that like in both of these movies, the like having a dark like drama scene like that is good, but I feel like we could have gone a different route besides like drunk adult being messy explaining it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think that it's like a fine and acceptable message to be like, that like having a tragic backstory like this and like having that inform the character. But I just think that presenting it, the drunk adult thing just gets me.
Yeah.
Like, I just can't with the drunk adult thing.
They present them as like, oh, they can't cope, they're alcoholics.
Yeah.
Right. And then it makes it like totally acceptable and normalized for a kid. Like, this kid is exceptional because he can take care of an adult and because he knew exactly what to do. And I feel like a lot of media does that, where it's like, this child is special because they can act like an adult. And like, I think that's probably like a result of trauma. Like,
Yeah.
You grow up too fast when bad shit happens to you.
Exactly. Yeah. And like, I can't even imagine a kid doing what Jaden Smith did. Like, that moment felt, as sweet as it was, like kind of unrealistic to me, because I can't see that being how a kid would deal with that situation. Maybe they do it effectively too. I don't know. But like, that was clearly written by an adult. And either for adults, or I don't know what I know what the purpose of that scene was, but I don't know who it was like written for or geared towards.
I think... Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just going to say, I think that also Jaden Smith's dad died. And we learned that in the beginning of the movie on his little wall. And I think that attributes to his response. I also think Jaden Smith did a phenomenal job in that scene, because he plays like the discomfort and confusion that he feels in what to do very well. And I think that because we are given the information that he's experienced grief, that he has a higher understanding, even as a 12-year-old, as to what Mr. Hun is going through.
Yeah.
And how he's like, you know what? When my dad died, I needed something to distract me. Like, let me distract him.
Yeah.
And I think that that's why I view it as more realistic. But I don't think that's relatable to all kids that were intended in the audience, because some people don't experience grief until they're much older. But I think that they did a really good job of showing that part of his character there.
Yeah. Period.
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 Yeah, no, as far as
Exclamation mark.
yeah. Yeah, no, as far as each of the movies, I feel like the new one, just as far as like that scene, is more trying to tell, like, going less for realism and going just for kind of more of a visual thing, because the thing I do remember liking about that scene is just like the imagery of like the shadows on the wall of them like practicing, is like they're going for more trying to evoke a direct emotion rather than like trying to tell you facts about a character.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they did, because like, I did feel something there.
Yeah. Are we listening to Bauschem? Boston, what did you think of Karate
Stop,
Kid?
that's so cute. That's so cute.
Yeah, Cal Bauschem.
That's Blossom snoring.
Oh.
That's so nice.
She's so cute.
The
You said, "Let me talk now."
the last
It's
bit
enough of her.
the last bit of each of these movies, talking about the finales, the ending tournaments of each. How do we feel they wrapped up? They compare. I have something specific I wanted to say about the Jaden Smith one, but I want to hear just y'all's thoughts on how each of these wrapped up.
Both these motherfuckers should have had their asses beat if this were realistic. Neither one of these people have trained enough in these specific martial arts disciplines to have any chance in either one of these tournaments. But they
Yeah.
are underdogs in a movie, so they won.
That flip in the air that Jaden Smith did,
That
like
was
the
crazy.
winning kick. I was like, "Whoa!"
That was insane.
I
The-
I hurt myself attempting to do that. When I first, when I
Oh
was a
my
kid.
god!
Please tell me you were on like your bed or something, like a soft.
I
surface.
was like jumping down like a steep hill.
No.
because
Into oncoming traffic.
That's the most dangerous situation you can describe.
I was the kid who who they put all the warning labels and like all this shit on. Like every dumb fucking thing that a kid could do, I did. Like I was the one sticking forks into electrical sockets.
You just wanted to see what would happen?
Yeah, just
It's just a man of science.
Right.
I feel like just like my natural survival instinct is kind of fucked up.
She doesn't want to survive.
Yeah, I agree completely with Court. Like the way that they're both like running off the mat and like almost lose their first match, and then like they show you the classic movie montage of the long scene, then they make it movie length, and it's just like they show you their growth in each one, and it's like years. It's like years worth of growth in each match, and I think that's funny.
Yeah.
Right. Did it
It's
still
cheesy.
take my breath away? Yeah.
Period.
I was like, Jaden! But
Jaden! And I think that both the movies do a equally good job of showing the relationship between the senseis and the Karate Kid. And I think that both movies do a really good job of showing the toxicity between the villain senseis and their and themselves. I think the original does it a little bit better because of Kreese being more of a character, but overall I think they're both really effective endings. I think they're the classic underdog plot, and it's hard to mess up. So they both did a good job.
Period.
Just in the Jaden Smith Karate Kid, I remember this was one of funnily enough, this was one of the first times I recognized a really good like foreshadowing Chekhov's gun with the head turn, with like because like early on when they go to the ancient kung fu mountain or whatever early on
the ancient kung fu man.
They went to it's like a temple.
Yeah,
right?
they went to like a temple and
Yeah.
drank from like the dragon well or
Yeah.
that whole thing. And Dre sees the woman like with the snake on the cliffside.
Yeah.
And she's like doing the head turn with the snake, and then he brings it back
Yeah.
and does it to Chang at the end of the movie.
That was sick. That was sick as fuck.
Yeah, and just as overall, like, you're just getting into psychology. And funnily enough, it's like, I don't know. I like that whole idea of just, like, getting into your enemy's head type deal. It's actually kind of an expansion on, in the original movie, Mr. Miyagi says to Daniel, like, always look in their eyes. And he never explains why. The reason why is so that they're not looking at your hands, And I feel
Period.
like that thing with... I feel like, yeah.
That's so smart.
Yeah, like...
Who told you that?
What?
You just figured that out? You're a genius.
There was, I think a YouTube comment.
Right.
They're a genius.
Yeah, but like I feel like the snake thing in this movie is a cooler visual way to tell that same idea, as far as like just the same thing of like get into their head, like don't let them think about the situation. And I just thought that was they did it in a really fun visual way in the new one that I think is cooler than the original. But yeah,
I like that.
that's these movies. Everybody pick a prop from each movie that you'd want to take home with you.
Does anyone have any final thoughts beforehand?
I got one.
Period.
Do you think the snake ending, like the whole, getting his head thing, with it being a snake, do you think there's any nod to the original movie, or do you think it's just coincidence?
What do you mean?
Like Cobra Kai.
I don't.
They're
Oh!
snakes.
Oh!
The Cobra.
Oh!
Like
yeah.
Cobra
Absolutely,
Kai.
totally.
Yeah,
didn't-
I mean, it is a cobra, right? That she's
Yeah,
doing it
It
with.
Yeah.
seems
Yeah.
like one.
I feel like
Yeah,
it's
'cause it's one of
intentional.
those-
it has the fanning thing.
Yeah, and I think
behind.
only Cobras have
I
those.
think so too.
Damn, I didn't think about that. No, that definitely is
Wow.
purposeful. Actually, last thing before props, are we excited for the new movie, Karate Kid Legends?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Out there, Jackie
We'll have
Chan
to come back for that.
and Machio.
When is it coming out?
Karate Kid Legends comes out, I want to say it comes out in May 30th.
Joe.
Yeah, that was crazy. I don't know why you did that.
May 30th.
May 30th. Props.
Oh, my prop is one of Mr. Miyagi's bonsai trees.
Fuck you. That was my prop.
That can still be your prop. He's got
I
a
don't
lot
want
of
it
them.
anymore.
Fuck you. That was my prop.
It's okay. I have 2 and 3 locked up.
I'm gonna go next to that Mo. Maybe I'll take one of theirs. I want the yellow car that he gives Daniel
Fuck.
at the end of the movie. So
That was
sorry.
mine.
Okay, I'll see. You can go before me. Unless you
Well-
usually go at the end. Is that
Well,
what happens?
Well, it depends. Whoever it.
Okay, I'll go. I want. Okay, you know the rug that they roll out at the end
Yes.
of the Jaden Smith movie in
Yes,
the
the-
tournament, the green one,
The
And
mat.
the mat. I want that.
Period.
Because it's green.
Period. Wait, can we pick a prop from each movie? There's two. Or
Yeah,
did we
no,
only
that's
get
what,
one?
that's what I said. A prop from each movie.
Oh.
Oh.
I gotta pick the new one. Hold on, I gotta think about it.
And then in the old one, I want the band. I want a band, one of the headbands.
Period.
With the Karate Kid headband. Period. Maybe. I'm not sure. I know what you'd want from the original. You said
I
it
already
during-
said the bonsai tree.
Oh, okay. In that case, I'm gonna take this thing so that you could borrow it.
Aw.
A Cobra Kai jacket
Aw,
In-
that's so nice.
in my size, a big boy Cobra Kai jacket,
Period.
so that you
Cobra Kai jacket.
What would your second one be?
from the new one.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. I gotta think. I like.
Yeah, that's annoying.
I'll do a double jacket if I could have an adult big boy version of the Jaden Smith jacket of the brown.
Period.
It's a cool brown jacket.
The Adidas jacket he
I
has
remember as a kid thinking like, oh, that's cool. So
Yeah.
yeah, a big boy version of that is a jacket from each movie.
This is tough. From the new one, I'll take his fly swatter.
That's a good one.
I really got to think about the new one. I just had a thought and it left my mind.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Oh, you know what? I want the this. Well, now it sounds kind of creepy, but I'm gonna give a little bit of lore because I want the tape that he made the girl
Ooh.
with the with the violin music on it. But I had a really big vitamin string. What were there? Yeah, vitamin string quartet phase, and so I just feel like it was he's got great music taste. I love his stuff, so I want to hear the tape.
Show me the tape.
Show me the tape.
Period. I'm gonna
And
change.
he put himself on it. He said, "You want to look at me?"
I'm gonna change my new answer to Mr. Miyagi's weird hat.
You mean Mr. Hans?
Mr.
Mr.
Han's
Hans.
weird hat.
Oh yeah, it was like stylish but weird.
Is it like
Yeah.
a fishing
It's very
hat? Like what's
cunty.
the? Yeah.
It has flaps on it and buttons as well.
Is it leather?
It looks like it, or pleather,
Leather.
Leather.
which is just fake leather, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Why
Plastic
do we
leather.
call it? Oh, because
that's exactly what I was gonna ask.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was gonna why don't we just call it faux leather?
pleather.
Feather.
Leather. I don't like that.
Did everybody give their props?
Yes. I think
yeah.
so.
Cool.
Oh, you did too. Yes.
Yeah, we're at the end. So thank you for everybody for coming on, guys.
Woo!
This is a
Thank
fun
you for
one.
having us.
Thanks for having us, LC.
Peeps at home, you've been listening to Midnight Movie Gang. It is currently 10:35 p.m. Night Movie Gang. You can follow us on YouTube at Midnight Movie Gang Podcast. Follow us on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, anywhere that you listen to audio, just as Midnight Movie Gang. Instagram, you could probably figure it out. Yeah, thank you so much for listening.
Midnight Movie.
Bye.
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 So, here we go. With childish frustrations and complexes which the police are searching for James Thomas, believed to be the lover of Miss Williams, and her partner in the horrible murder of Walter Grant, everybody, and I'm here to hold on. Oh, please tell me where this going. Please tell me. Sorry, I don't know. How could I got in here? 3 tickets to Albany on 6 o'clock train tonight. What do you think? Special agent.